Welcome to the Red to Black podcast with your hosts Werner and Mario. We invite you to like and comment on this episode because that tells the YouTube algorithm to share this with the world.
Yeah, so the leader, he sets the boundaries or the chalk lines of what's tolerated in a business. His performance, his discipline, the approach that the business is going to take is really led by the leader. I'm using a male term because I'm in the military and I'm in the infantry specifically, and it's just what I'm mostly familiar with male leadership. I think there's some companies that um, cosmetic companies, et cetera, that are probably better suited for a female to lead that organization. But old school United States Marine Corps infantry units are mostly led by men. In fact, I don't think there's a battalion commander that's a female yet. So yeah, setting the boundaries of what is tolerated in an organization is their job. Punctuality, work ethic, discipline, et cetera, is how I see solid leadership in the organizations I've been part of. Your thoughts, Warner?
Yeah, so when you're looking at any company that you're interested in investing, the most important thing to ask is what who is the leader and what are his values, ethos, and other guidelines that he's following along the lines of what you were saying. And the reason why that's important is because every organization is going to be run by that leader, and the personality of that leader is going to disseminate throughout that entire organization. So if someone's messing up down at the bottom of the organization, it's because of the leader. If the organization sucks, it's because of the leader. If the organization if the organization is an amazing place to work, it's the leader. What I mean by this is you want to look for a company where the leader takes 100% responsibility. Like Jocko Willink says, extreme ownership. He is the buck stops with him. If anything happens in an organization, he's taking responsibility. You don't want an organization where the leader is blaming everything going on in that organization on people below him. At the end of the day, the leader should be pointing the finger at himself if anything's going wrong. And the reason why that's important is your organization will run a lot faster, more efficient, and more effectively if you have a leader that takes 100% ownership. What are your thoughts on that?
I think those are excellent points. I can think of about four key areas that a leader should be focused on to move the needle in an organization. The first and the most important thing is solving problems. So putting yourself at the point of friction, or putting yourself at the point where these are the biggest problems the business is going to face. When it's raining, I'm just going to use this in a physical space. When it's raining, cold, wet out, etc. That's when the leaders need to show up. That's when the leader needs to be there. Is when it's the most miserable. So the biggest problem in the organization is where that's where the leader needs to show up and provide guidance. Basically, just learning about the problem, taking in information, absorbing what's going on with this problem, and potentially trying to come up with a solution, or helping to provide clarity, or help to analyze the problem, analyze the mission, and try to get everybody rowing in the same direction on a really difficult problem. Number two is recruiting. You're trying to assemble a good team. You're constantly trying to put together the best team you can to go out and play and to compete. I'd say number three is setting goals. You're constantly trying to move the needle every year or every quarter, or trying to get the organization better. If you're not getting better, you're dying. And then lastly is you're a cheerleader. The leader, the number one leader in an organization isn't the heavy. He's not the vice principal. He's the cheerleader. He's trying to get everybody in a positive frame. There's another guy in the organization. He's the second in command. He's the heavy. He's going to chop heads when they need to. He's going to be the tyrant if that's needed in the business. It's not the leader. The CEO or the head of the organization is not that. It's not his job to be the bad guy. He's the good guy. He's cheerleading. He's getting everyone motivated and cheerleading to push results. And if he has people in his organization that he can express his frustration, and they can go out and they can cut heads, or etc. So those are the four things: just solving problems, recruiting, setting goals, and cheerleading. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, prioritizing those 4 things. Number 1 would be goals. And we talk about this a lot. Goals are under performance, and performance is your effectiveness at fulfilling on your plans through measurable results, action items, and timelines. Then comes your team. Now, your team, if you have a team in place, will be creating that plan with you. But if you're a sole leader and you're building an organization from scratch, then you're going to start out with that plan on your own. So the two could work together, or it could be you just creating the plan. The reason why the plan's important is because it gives you a target, it gives you a pathway, it gives you a non-negotiable, these are my measurable results, this is what I said I would accomplish, and the whole team knows exactly what they're doing because it's measurable, meaning it's in number. Hey, we're going to get 1,000 social media followers new this month after 30 days. We're going to generate 100,000 revenue plus by the end of this month, right? So 30 days out, those are 2 measurable results, and the entire team knows exactly what you're doing. Now, where a leader will step in, and the leaders below you, like you said, you're number 2, they'll step in when your action items have been ineffective. So your action items are not fulfilling on those measurable results. That's where the leader steps in to steer the ship and say, hey, why have we been ineffective? What are effective actions we can take to fulfill these measurable results? And then also, when you said the cheerleader, that's important because when you create this plan, these measurable results, if you're just doing a robotic fashion, you're missing out on an opportunity to get the why behind it. Why are you doing this? Is it because you love what you're doing? You're passionate about this area? What's the why behind your plan? And so the leader is going to be focused on making sure that why stays ingrained in everyone's head, because people will lose sight. You know how it is. You create a plan, everyone's euphoric, and then probably 20 or 30% through the plan, people are going to start hitting roadblocks. People are going to start losing motivation. That's where the leader steps in. And a phenomenally trained leader will train the individuals below him, and they'll step in when they're required to step in. And the reason why all this is important, when you're looking at an organization for which you want to purchase, if things are going awry, that means the leader is missing out on one of those 4 areas. Either he's not building up the team, he's avoiding problems, he's not following his measurable results, he's not getting behind his team, he didn't create measurable results in the first place. So the reason why we're talking to our listeners about this is because when you're looking for a business, you want to ascertain whether or not the management is on point. And these are 4 critical areas that support you in doing this. What are your thoughts?
Excellent points, Warner. I think we need to continually reassess our azimuth. That's a job of a leader, is to continually look at if we're slightly off 1 or 2 degrees from our true north, and to recalibrate that azimuth and get people back onto that true north. Just a 1 degree shift slightly, we're compromising our integrity, or we're compromising our results, our performance. We're accepting less than we can do. We're off that azimuth, and that's the job to evaluate. It's solving problems, it's finding the azimuth, it's getting people behind that goal, it's recruiting the right team, it's cheerleading, and it's also coming back to that compass occasionally and saying, are we being true to ourselves? Are we, to thy own self be true. I think that's very important for the leader to do. That's kind of my thoughts on number 1.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. We invite you to get to know us by clicking on our LinkedIn profiles in the description of this video. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification for future updates, and share this content with your networks. Thank you for your valuable time and insights. We greatly appreciate it.